inertia.
And I'm the captain.
I'm a planner.
And I'm the schemer.
Together, we're plans
and schemes.
And we have some news. The work on the bus has begun. So, it's been a little over a week. And it's been hot.
Very hot. It has been over 75 degrees for sure.
Yeah, you do more than that. But, man, it's been, especially relative to our area. Man, last week in June, hot. No matter where you are, mostly. Unless you're down there. So, what have we got done this week? The seats are out. Okay, except two. The two over the axle were tough to get to. Because you had one of us in the bus. And one under the bus.
Yeah.
With the top of the bolt and then the nut. Which were rusted, seized, stuck. So, initially, we tried yelling at each other through the bus, and then we realized that that was not a good plan.
Totally inefficient.
Yeah, and who likes being yelled at? So, we called each other on the phone, and had a normal human conversation of, like, which one, where are you? In order to coordinate all of the undoing of the screws.
Yeah. Now, as well as using the cell phones worked, I would have much preferred some walkie talkies, because we were both mumbling under our breath a lot of things. And that doesn't need to be going back and forth between the two of you. Eventually that builds tension. Walkie talkies, only the important info comes across, so you can be as frustrated as you want and not feed off your partner.
True. And I think I put a set of walkie talkies on our wish list. Link in description. So, how long it actually took us in, like, man hours versus how many days it took.
First, I'd like to disclaimer that time is relative. So, what took us a certain amount of time may take you longer, or half the time, or whatever. Time is a made-up structure, so don't feel bad about your timeline.
Okay. So, over the course of 2 days. But in the actual span of working time of about maybe a little more than 3 hours, we got 10 rows of seats out. And felt pretty good about that, actually. And I have to put in a safety disclaimer here. And there will probably be some still shots and some little footage and stuff. But if you're under the bus, hard hat, safety goggles. You know, if you can manage it, jumpsuit, definitely long pants, long sleeves. Did I mention it's been hot? There was a lot of sweat happening this week. But it felt good. It felt good to be actively working towards the dream and getting some stuff done. But safety first, because, man, when you're under there and there's a stripped bolt, rust is coming down, and it's coming down in your eyes, on your face, everywhere. Please be careful out there, folks.
Yeah. If you don't have a face shield, a mask and goggles will work. But yeah, you don't want to be ingesting that stuff or anything like that. It's also very greasy down there.
It really is.
So having long sleeves on it may suck because it's hot, but it's a lot easier to just throw away the shirt than try to scrub grease off of your skin.
Yeah, and, you know, proper soap for grease scrubbing is also a good idea. So, we managed to get the stickers off the outside of the bus as well, which is also cool.
How did you do that, baby?
Heat gun. Heat gun and some fingernails and a lot of peeling and heat. Actually, for part of it, the broadside of the bus was like
baking in the sun.
Baking in the sun. I didn't have to heat gun with that one. I just peeled carefully, and they came off gloriously. For the rest, heat gun. And it worked really well. So I'm pleased that we've de-stickered And then we tore up the floors. So, a lot of times, there's a plywood subfloor. Except, ours had no plywood subfloor.
All rubber matting.
And adhesive.
Lots of adhesive.
Lots of adhesive. So right now we have some bare floors, a lot of adhesive residue, and rust. Now, expected rust. This is a 19-year-old vehicle. Totally expected rust. But oy vey, remediating rust is challenging.
Yeah.
Okay, so once we pried up all the rubber, and we're still getting bits of rubber out from the edges because stuck stripped screws and flashing in pieces, and my challenge next week will be stripped screws, the last 2 bus seats, and removing the heater, and the whole heating system. I got some of the dashboard torn down, and we've got some cool plans for the dashboard. Stay tuned. But ripping out the whole heating system is next, and remediating all of the rust. The next real milestone that I'm looking forward to is having all of the rust remediated and being able to enamel the whole floor after all the adhesive and stuff is gone. To have a nice blank visual canvas to start the next steps. So hopefully by the next time we see you, we'll be able to show you some pictures of the completely done, lovely enameled floor. It's my goal.
Have we decided on a color yet for that enamel floor?
We have. It's going to be like forest green. Safety forest green. Link in description. So, we got to use some new tools. At least new to me. Angle grinder is going to be my next best friend. At least tool friend. It does really help with the rust after you've done the wire brush thingy for hours of wire brushing and your hand cramping. Then you get to use the angle grinder with a flap disc, a flap sanding disc. And then your hands get to hurt in a different way, and you get to feel all of the vibrations long after the thing has turned off. It does throw some sparks, even sanding. Be aware, safety gear, gloves, the guard's still on the angle grinder. Glasses, all of it.
We do not recommend modifying any tool. Use as directed.
Indeed. So we got to do that. Lots of wrenching and grease and filth, and I'm so glad to be showered and clean. Still a little warm, but it's good. That the shower after the most greasy mess was so lovely.
Now, let's talk a little bit about our shower because it's kind of cool because it's bus related. We wanted a hot water system in the bus, obviously, so we could take hot showers and stuff like that. So for the build process, I decided to install an outdoor shower.
In our little base camp.
Yeah. Just someplace that we can shower off after a long day so we're not like crawling into bed sweaty because that's disgusting.
That's true.
So we decided to order the water heater we wanted for the bus and stick it in the outdoor shower, get used to using it and what it sounds like and how it should be operating and stuff like that. And so far we're pretty happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
We're real happy with what we got. So
It's true. And, you know, the particular hot water heater we got, link in description. It is propane powered. It is vent free. So it does need some moving air and ventilation. So the outside installation is great. And once we have it inside the bus, you know, having active ventilation on, you know, the fan going, the windows open, all of these things can be very important. I'm looking forward to actually plumbing this in. But we're nowhere near that yet. But it's good to have, like, plans and goals and plans and games.
yeah.
But It's also important to do non-bus related things because it really can consume your life and you can get overwhelmed, and it's good to step back.
Yep.
And it's good to do non-bus related things. So what do we do this week?
We had a couple of friends over for a social distanced barbecue.
Right?
Um,
10 feet apart chairs
Yep.
and outdoor air and loveliness.
this meat-eating pirate had his first Beyond Burger. Um,
Because one of our friends is a vegetarian.
yep. It will do, meat eaters out there. It will do. If you have a vegan friend that wants to go out for lunch, you can go to a vegan place, get the Beyond Burger, and it'll be okay.
Absolutely. And take care of your vegetarian friends because they're awesome too. Even if you're an omnivore. So, you also had a project this week in the yard and in the base camp.
Oh, yeah. So, as I had stated in a previous episode, I had Lyme disease for a long time. And it's done a lot of permanent damage to my body during the course of the years where I was supposed to be at my prime. So I was abusing my body and doing permanent damage. So at the end of a long day, I am so sore. It's hard to walk, it's hard to breathe, everything just aches. So I decided I needed a place where I could soak in some water and just lay and float and sort of therapy the joints. So I've had a fish pond in the backyard, a shell, just sitting. So I set up a nice little cave with a soak pond in it, and it was so lovely and peaceful and relaxing, and my joints felt so good afterwards. But it was nice to have a non-bus related project, so I could clear my head of bus stuff and come back to the bus with fresh eyes.
Indeed. And I have to say, I have partaken in the little pond as well, and it is lovely, especially, once the heat is broken a little bit and at the end of the day. It is really great to relax, and I would rather be a mermaid, so put me in water and I'm always happy. So he's a pirate.
As a pirate, I prefer to be on top of the water, but occasional dip into it is okay. In the shallow pools where the kraken isn't.
That's true. That's true. So, we've got some new stuff we're going to be working on next week. Getting all of the rest of the rust remediated. Getting those last two darn seats out, one way or another.
Yeah.
By hook or by crook. And getting the heater out. Getting all of the floor scrubbed, because there is a little bit of grime and yuck underneath all of this stuff. Getting all of the residue of the adhesive out carefully. But only after the seats have been taken out and all of the grinding is done. Because what we're going to use to wash down the bus is acetone, which is highly flammable. And you don't want to ever throw sparks from an angle grinder anywhere near any solvent or flammable item.
Yeah.
Safety first, folks. And hopefully we will be able to come back to you with more progress next week. Until then, keep planning, keep streaming. See you next time.